Yo, what's up guys, BeatsbyHcien Yankees. This is your first time, and yeah, in today's video I'm basically going to be showing you guys step-by-step guide on how you can, come about mixing your vocals and making it sound professional. And just a quick disclaimer, I'm not trying to say this is the best way of doing it. I'm just showing you my own way using my recent song. And if you know you're having issues mixing vocals, you just want to stay to the end. And yeah, quick one before I start, if you notice around there there's no light coming, so apparently there's this stuff from my, I don't know if you can see it, from my stand. It got broken, so if anyone knows what this is called, I'm trying to see if I can search it on AliExpress or something, just let me know. It's just to stay on the stand where the light just goes through here. So I mean, it is what it is. No excuses, man. You have to show up regardless. So with that being said, let's get straight into the video. So yeah, this is the vocals we're going to be working with. This is what it sounded with without effects. So let's check out the effect. Without effects. Now with the effects. So that's what we're going to be working on. So let's move on to the first step. So when you've recorded your vocals, this is going to be like, step by step. So you just want to follow up this step, and you can use it on any DAW, whatever plugin you're comfortable with. You can also use that. You must not necessarily use what I'm using. Just follow my steps if you like what you hear and if you like my songs, basically. So yeah, the first thing you're going to notice that I'm doing here when I've recorded is to clean my vocals. So do you know those? So I always try to take it out totally. Now for some artists, they always like to have that live feel. So for artists like that, instead of taking it out totally, you can just highlight it and just double click it, whatever DAW you're using, and bring it down a bit, bring down the volume so that it is not too pronounced. It's just a little bit light, because some artists also like their breath because it helps give the live feel. But me personally, for my style of vocal mix, I like to take it out. So that's the first thing you want to do. Clean your vocals, okay? So when you finish cleaning your vocals, as you can see through my whole vocals templates or channel, you can see I cleaned it. So that's the first step. So yeah, the second thing you want to do that I do when I'm creating, so I'm just going to first of all take all of this off. So yeah, if you like my vocal chain, like I always say, you can click the link in the description to get it. So after you have clean out your vocals, make it sound clean. Remember, when you're recording, that should even be the first thing. Make sure you take good, clean vocals. Don't just record anyhow thing and you feel like you're going to create magic. It's not going to happen. So you have to make sure that you're recording a sound, that your recording is nice before you start mixing. So take notes when you're recording. So when you've done that, the next thing you want to do is to add in whatever noise reduction plugin that you feel you know how to use. In my case, I know how to use NS1 noise suppressor from Wave. And what this basically does is to basically reduce the background noise. Do you get? Because this is a condenser mic, and the condenser mic takes a lot of room noise, but a dynamic mic doesn't really do that. But if you're using a condenser mic, I would advise you always, if your environment where you are recording is not quiet enough, or even if it's quiet, you can just use this noise suppressor or whatever noise reduction you know how to use, and just reduce it to taste, just reduce it till you feel like, okay, you cannot really necessarily hear the background noise anymore. So yeah, after I've done that, the next thing I want to do is to, add in an Vox stereo. Basically, what I just use this to do is like a compressor just to amp the vocals. This is like compressing, not compulsory, but I just do this and I just bring it down to 15 and take this to 3. I don't do this all the time though, so I don't think this is like maybe a bonus step to take if you want to. So definitely when you've cleaned your vocals, you've reduced your background noise. If you want to add this, if you don't, no problem. So yeah, after I've added my NS1 and I've added my Vox on a normal, the next thing I always do is to add in my tuning vocals. Do you get? So in this case, I am grouping them, so I just put my tuning in each group. So you want to take note of that. Just want to explain that So when you've added your noise reduction, and this is optional, you want to add in your tuning plugin, auto tune, waves tune, whatever, before you start adding your Pro Q. So when you're watching this video, you notice that there's no tuning here because I put them in a group because I have two vocals that have same mix. So I just basically put the tuning in each of their channel and continue going. So please take notes of that. The next thing you want to do is to subtract frequencies. You bring in your EQ. That is what I do. So after I've done that, I bring in EQ and I'm just basically trying to take out frequencies that I don't like in the vocals. So definitely the lows, I don't really need it. So yeah, this is what it sounds like. This is what it sounds like before the EQ. And this is what it sounds like with the EQ. So I can even take it low. So I'm just basically bringing in a subtractive EQ, and depends on the vocals, it depends on the studio you recorded, but some little trick. Now you want to first of all take out, you see below this 100 hertz like this, you want to take it out, but don't make your vocals too thin. So you want to roll off the lows. This is a low cut. This is called a low cut. So you want to roll off the lows. You see this 100, take it a little bit further. Then remember, still listen to taste, because you don't want to make your stuff so thin. You understand? So that's the first thing I do. I take a roll off. I'm trying to explain what I'm thinking when I'm using this EQ. Now, the moddiness of the vocals comes around this 200 to 500 hertz range, where you get all this kind of sound, maybe like a NASA sound and all this kind of sound. So you want to like go in there like this. You can solo if you use a file filter. You can reduce it and you just take it down. So you can even take another one. You can find another one. From the 200 hertz to the 500 hertz is where you get that moddiness. So you want to like take off, and you want to like take out the frequency and build around that 200 to 500, looking for that moddiness in the mix, and you just want to talk it down. Trust me, you don't want to do too much. I don't necessarily advise you use a Fab Pro, an EQ, the first step, to do any additional EQing. Basically, what we're doing is subtractive EQ, taking out frequencies that we don't like. So now where you now get your harshness in the mix is around the 3000 hertz to 5000 hertz. Do you get? So that's where you get harshness. So you can either take it up or take it down, depends on the vibe you're going for. But as you can see around there, I'm basically not doing all of that. What I just basically did here was to do a subtractive EQ in places that I wasn't really liking what the frequency is giving. So, but like a little trick, like I said, you want to roll off from 0 to the 100 hertz. That's like the low mod. You want to lower it to beat. Then from the 100 to the 500, the 200 to the 500 is where you get the moddiness. So you want to try to look for that and just bring it down, depends on where you're recording. And after doing that, you want to also check your high ends if you really want to boost, but I don't really boost when I'm doing my first one, like I said. So we've cleaned the vocals, we've reduced the background noise, we've EQ'd, and this is like optional. Do you get? So after we've done that, we're definitely going to add presence and air. That's where you get around this 5 to 20,000 hertz. Do you get? But like I said, I'm only subtracting. So after I've done that, the next thing I do is to bring in a compressor. So what a compressor does, just a quick explanation, it's just basically taming the dynamics, making sure whatever is going too high comes low, whatever is going too low, it brings it up. So it's kind of balancing what the vocal should be. So it's not going to be, I want to be her, it's going to be, baby, wanna die, I can be your band. You understand? Everything is going to be linear, everything is going to be straight. A simple physical or visual explanation is, for example, if this vocal is like this, is like this vocal is like this vocal is like this. What a compressor does is to kind of even it out like this. I hope this is like explanatory. So it makes it even and the vocals are not like overlapping themselves. That is what a compressor basically does. So personally, sometimes I like to like over compress, so this is also based on what you feel, but I'm going to explain. This is a threshold. The threshold, what you're just doing in the threshold is basically looking at how high. So when I'm looking at the threshold, I'm basically looking at the consistency of the vocals. What range do I feel the vocal stays more, and maybe once in a while it goes higher. So what I just do is I just bring down my stuff to that place. So what I'm telling the compressor is, if this goes higher than this, please bring it down with beats. Do you get? Bring it down to this particular plane. Maybe I'll make a special video for compressor, because this video is going to be too long if I start doing that in this video. So that just be, if you want that, please comment and just drop a comment, and I'll make a special video for that. So that's just basically what I'm doing. I'm using a 3:5 ratio for this, and the attack and release is just as explained. The attack is basically how fast you want to grab the vocals. The release is how fast and slow you want to, grab and release the vocals. So definitely for rap vocals, you need fast attack and fast release, because the vocal is just chopping. So you want to grab it fast and leave it fast. A simple way, if you use other DAWs, it's milliseconds and seconds. So the faster attack, the slower the release. For example, see, I love the way my baby go down. So now this is like a slower release. So I don't really need it to be too slow. I need it to be a little bit fast or slow, because I'm singing, oh my baby, where are you there? So I want you to hold it a bit, because I'm singing, and release it. I'll make a special video for this, but I just hope you understand what I'm saying. Attack is just basically grabbing the vocals, and for our vocals, you want to do fast attack based on the time, milliseconds and seconds. And for normal singing, you want to do fast attack and maybe slow release. Do you understand? So I'll make a special video explaining compressor. But if you understand compressor, that is the next thing I do after I EQ. I try to compress and just try to like tame the dynamics. Please, if you need that compressor video, please drop a comment below. So the next thing I do when I've done that is to add in a CLA2A. So this second compressor is just basically gluing the vocal together. Do you understand? Gluing the vocal, do you get? So that's just basically what I do. And just a simple trick for your compressor, 3:1, 4:1 gives this smooth feel. So yeah, for your ratio, you can use that as well if you'd like that. So when you've done that, the next thing you want to do is to obviously add in a parallel compressor if you want to. Do you get? So this is optional, but for me, I just basically use the Rockman preset from CLA Vocals, and the compressor is just what I'm blending. This is just basically when you over compress. Parallel compression is basically when you over compress the vocals, and then you're mixing it and blending it with the normal mixed vocals. So that's just basically what this is. This is not compulsory. So when you've EQ'd, you've compressed, now you want to add that brightness to your mix. So you can either use Fresh Air or whatever air plugin that you have. In my case, I'm using BeatsbyHcien EQ, and I'm just taking beat or below, and I'm increasing the air bit, and I'm adding presence. Presence is so that you can really hear what I'm singing, and this is what it sounds like. See, I love the way my baby go down. Oh, my baby, where you there? I know go easy up, baby, be my market. Baby, my market. Oh, baby, tell me where you there? I know go easy up, baby, be my market. You be my market. Oh baby, tell me where you. So if you can hear what the vocals sound a little bit over compressed, because that's personally my own taste. That's personally how I want my vocals to be. So remember, I just keep repeating this so it sticks in your head. You clean your vocals, you add in a noise suppressor, you add in an EQ to give subtractive EQ, you add in a compressor to tame the dynamics, and if you like, you can do a parallel compressing. And the next you can also now do is to add in brightness, and you can also try to reduce the harshness as well if you feel like it's a little bit harsh, because when you compress, it can bring up some frequencies that you were not hearing before, you don't like. So the next thing you can do, like I said, is to probably, add in some air, and I'm using BeatsbyHcien EQ, taking the lows, adding some presence, adding some air. If you have any air plugin like Fresh Air and you know how to use it very well, this is when you can bring it in to your mix based on my own style of mixing. So if you don't have this and you probably want to use an EQ to do a subtraction, when you drop in your EQ after you've compressed, you can just look around the 5,000 to like 10,000 This is where you get the harshness, like I said. And if you feel like your vocal is harsh in any way, this is the frequency that you want to look for, and you can just bring it down with beats, depend on what you're going for. Do you understand? So after I've done that, the next thing you want to add is colors, and that is where saturation comes in. So for me, I'm using Saturn, and basically I'm using this preset Magic BM, and I'm not doing anything basically. So if you know how to use saturation, this is where you bring it in and you saturate, and add a little bit of distortion and colors to your vocals. Okay, so after you've done that, so I know go use a play. Baby, be my market. You be my market. Yeah. Oh, baby, tell me where you live. So me, I'm just basically using this SSL channel. Just adding it basically because I like the sound. If you've been watching me, I say it all the time. I know go use a play. Baby, be my market. And for this particular mix, I didn't use vitamin. So you can see the next thing you want to do is to de-ess. So you can either use a Pro de-esser, or if you have waves, I would advise you just use the Waves de-esser stereo, which is very easy. All you just have to do is to just watch the frequency and bring it down. Baby, be my market. You be my market. Yeah. Oh, baby, tell me where you live. So yeah, it sounded a little bit synthetic. Like I said, that's the vibe that I'm going for this particular song. So yeah. And like I said, if you EQ, you add a compressor. If you want to, you can add a parallel compressor, add in some air or reduce some air, depends on what you want to go for, add in some colors. Then the next is to de-ess, so that it's not too sharp and harsh when they are listening to the track. So after you've done that, the next thing you want to do is to add in a delay, I know go use a play. Baby, be my market. You be my market. Yeah. Oh, baby, tell me where you live. So it depends on the song, it depends on the vibe, and it depends on what you want to go for, depends on what effect you're going for. If you want it to be a radio effect, you can also add this delay in your send, if you want to do that. For me personally, I always add them on my channel. So I mean, there's no right or wrong way of mixing as long as the end result is nice. So for me, I'm using a 1/8. Sometimes it changes. It could be a 4, it could be 8. For now, I'm using the 8 because that was what I was going for. And feedback in delay, if you don't know what feedback is, just basically means how many times do you want the delay to sound. Listen. I know go use a play. Baby, be my market. You be my. See how long it's taking. But when I take it down to like, let's say 30, listen to how many times you get the feedback. I know go use a play. Baby, be my market. See, it's not taking longer. So the feedback in any delay you're using is how many times you want it to sound. And this wet knob is just basically how audible you want the delay to be, basically. So that's why I like Ableton. Basically, that's what I use. So when you've added a delay, the next thing you want to add is definitely a reverb, and this is based on taste. And after I add my reverb, the one good thing I like about Ableton reverb is the fact that we have an EQ, so I can just simply easily use this EQ and roll up the low so that it's not going to muddy the mix in general. So yeah, I know go use a play. Baby, be my market. You be my market. Yeah. Oh, baby, tell me where you live. So yes, you can see the reverb here is crazy, but yeah, that's what I was going for. And I think I'm going to make a video where I'm going to be explaining EQ and compressor, and I'm also going to be explaining delay and reverb. If you want that, please let me know in the comment section. So that's the next thing I add, a delay and a reverb, and this is what we have so far. So yeah, that's the next thing I do. Remember, after you've cleaned your vocals, you add in a noise suppressor. Then you want to add in a tuning vocals. If you're not putting them in a bus, if you are putting them in a bus, I would advise you put your tuning vocal your tuning VST in each channel. Do you get? For some reason, when you put them in just one channel, just to give some little bit of, it doesn't really sound nice, basically, my own experience based on me using Ableton, and I think when I use Presonus as well. So that was why I added them, the waves tune that I'm using in their own channel. And the 5-seater you see is what I use for radio, you know, and I automated it somewhere. So after you've added your tuning, then you want to add in an EQ, subtractive EQ, subtract what you don't like. Then you compress. Then after you compress, you can add in a second compressor if you like to glue the vocal more. Depends on you. You can parallel compress after that. I use CLO vocals if you want to. Then you can bring in your air, you know, try to bring up the air, bring up the presence of the vocal so people can hear it more. And you can also, at this point, also try to see if you can reduce this as well. Depends on what you hear and the taste. Then you can add some colors using Saturn. You can skip this, and the next thing you do is to add in the de-esser, definitely, to reduce this sibilance, and the adding the delay, and you add in a reverb. So that's just basically what mixing is all about, okay? So I don't want you to feel like mixing is one big thing, like I always say. It's not that hard, okay? So yeah, just make sure you follow these steps, and I'm pretty sure you'll be good to go. So yeah, just a bonus tip, as well as you mix the vocal, so in between the chorus, verses, you can also feel free to do some automation to effects. Like as you can see in this particular one, I did automation around this side, around this side, around this side, and that's just radio vocals. So around there, the automation goes off. You can hear there's no radio vocals around here. And around there, the automation comes back. So you can also add in automation when you're mixing, you know, to just giving some effects and uniqueness around the mix. So just a quick trick and a quick bonus that you can use. I think that was basically it. If you like my vocal channel, you know, you can get it. Ableton users, I'm sorry if it's studio users and all that does, I'm wasting time, but hopefully I'll get to it and do for you guys as well. So yeah, I just wanted to show you a quick step-by-step guide on how or what to do so that you can get that nice sounding professional mix. Like I say, there's no right or wrong way when you're mixing vocals, as long as the end product sounds nice. So don't kill yourself too much. Just do what you can do. But make sure you keep learning, and you keep getting better, which is very important. And if you're having issues with music theory, click the link as always in the end video. And please, if anyone knows the name of this stuff, I will appreciate if you can just help me to, you know, identify this, or just tell me what the name is. I don't know, man. I don't know. I need you guys to help me with that so that I can get it as quick as possible. But that was basically it for the video. Let me know what you think. Yeah. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section. And yeah, till I catch you guys in the next video. Peace.